Hey everyone, today I'm going to be demoing Lens. We've come very far since the launch 3.5 months ago, and the feature set has grown. So I want to cover everything that the browser can do. Why do we have Lens, and what is Lens? Lens is a Web3 browser. I think you can just leave it at that. It basically integrates the features of a traditional web browser with the large domain that is cryptocurrency, and it creates one of the safest, most secure, and most integrated bridges between those two domains that I believe exists in the world. And it has several novel features that make it what I think is an obvious choice for people who are trading specifically in the Solana ecosystem and who are looking for a safer offering for their wallet. So let's get into it. I'm going to log out and show you the traditional flow of what Lens kind of is when you first download it from getlensnow.com. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to go to my account. We don't have a token, so I'm going to generate a token and I'll generate a new one. I'm going to copy this token and I'm going to authorize Lens. So this is the first step. This is how you get in. Now, if you want a premium account, which costs 1,000 Lens tokens, which are then burned, it gives you functionality where you can add, you can push and pull right here to get various web configuration data from the cloud. And you also get a lot of tokens when you have a premium account of it that no you can click it in only of devices if you want to give you kind of multi-device support. And we will be adding new premium features as we attract more users and as we gain market share. So let's go into Lens and kind of explain the web features first. So if you notice, we have this beautiful screen and you have three websites visible at once. So that's the first part of Lens that I think is the core. We allow you using this to create custom configurations or web views in any configuration you want. I'm on a 27-inch monitor right now, and I think this is one of the most beautiful experiences you have. And you basically can view a bunch of websites at the same time, and you can have any configuration you want. And if I want to save this to the cloud, I do that. And this is only available for premium accounts. But all these configurations of web views, you can again look at them all at the same time and save them to the cloud. So every time you start Lens, you can browse. Now, this is how you configure your web views. Web views can take shape in a three-dimensional data array. First are collections. So collections are just simply what they sound like, collections of web views. You can decrease the amount of collections you have, and you can increase them up to 9. So you can think of these like tabs in your web browser. However, they are slightly different because unlike a traditional tab, these tabs can have multiple web views displayed at the same time. And that's just a collection of websites. So you have these collections, then you have your floor selector. A floor selector is how you go from floor to floor. Every floor can have a total of 9 collections, as I said before. So we can click. It looks like this floor only has 3 collections, or sorry, 4 collections. And that is really core functionality of the browser component part of it. And lastly, you have this ability to navigate to not only like a brand new workspace. So you could create a whole new workspace, the red workspace. Let's go to floor 0. And okay, this is banking stuff. I haven't used this in a while. So hopefully let's not sign into any of my banking accounts right now. But so that's the basic way that websites are configured in Lens. It's pretty straightforward. You have your collections, and then you have your workspaces, and then you have your floors. And the floors are right here. Let's go back to 0. Okay, so in addition to that, the what we have down here in the next row is your traditional kind of web browser. You basically go in here and you can go to any website you want. Let's go to a different finance, Google Finance. Why not? And that's it. You hit enter and you're off to the races. So this is your back button, also somewhat traditional in web browsers. This is drag and drop. So drag and drop is a feature where you can drag this onto a new web view and it will swap places. So this is a nice feature. I think drag and drop is something you need when you have so many. various web views going on at once. It's just nice. It prevents you from having to select text in a website and then redo everything. Lastly, are the partitions. That's in this URL. So we allow you to create 7 different partitions. So what is a partition? You can think of a partition just as a place that stores your login credentials. So if you're a social media manager and you manage a bunch of X accounts, you could have, let's say, x.com here. You can have it x.com here, and you can change this to partition B, and you could change this to partition C. Let's go back to x.com. And this now on partition B, you see I'm logged in as Lens. In partition A, I was logged in as a different account. Partition C, I will have to log in again. So this allows you to essentially log into a bunch of accounts at once, which is really nice because you could have a bunch of Telegram accounts open, a bunch of Pump Fund accounts open, a bunch of X accounts open. And I'm actually going to take some notes here, guys, live, because we just found a very small fix, which is changing partitions did not change the URL. I'm going to be taking notes throughout the video. This is really startup company stuff. Video notes. I know I just have to maximize my time. Like we work so fast here and we deliver so much. So this is just, you're going to have to kind of, resources are constrained. Things are going very well. We have a lot of new users, but, I have to make sure that I'm operating efficiently. So, yeah, those are partitions, and partitions are also synced to the cloud. So you basically can choose up to 7. You could have a total of 7 X accounts, and then you could um, create new logins for each account. Now, this is another interesting thing. So we logged in with Google, and we're logged in with one. Okay, I don't already have a Binance account, but you could log in with one over here, and then you could have a different Binance account over here. And that's what partitions are. So it allows you to essentially to log in to multiple websites, the same websites with different accounts. You can think of them like Chrome profiles, but unlike Chrome profiles, which require you to open up a bunch of windows and then you enter this tab hell, Lens is wonderful in the sense that you can get all these partitions or Chrome profiles if it helps you think about them easier in one central location next to each other. So that's the basic feature of the URL bars, and it's not tremendously complicated, but that's what they do. Now I'm going to pull in new bars. Now I want to show you guys some functionality when it comes to backing up stuff. So I'm going to head back over to getlensnow.com, and I'm going to show you that actually we have visualized your backups. So I go to my backups. And we can see again the blue, red, and green sections. And then we can notice we have all the different collections. Now, if you notice, I backed up something recently here and I added this new URL. And I believe it was in collection 2. You can see a perfect representation of the browser state itself inside the website. And I added, what did I add? Yahoo.com over here, it looks like. Now, I like this one better when there was no Yahoo.com. So I can actually go here, and this is just a basically backup, I guess you could say, of all the activity you have in your cloud. So in the blue collection, collection 0, I'm going to set this as active. Now, what that's going to do is going to go back. And when I go to collection 2 again, and I initiate another poll, then hopefully yahoo.com will be gone and we will be back to our normal configuration, our regularly scheduled programming, if you will. So that is a really nice feature in Lens. I don't think a lot of people know about it, but it's a way for you to manage your web views and your collections basically on the website. And it's a backup in case you do something really crazy, like you change a bunch of stuff. We will save the 20 most recent collections for each, the 20 most recent backups for each collection for each workspace. So you have a lot of data being stored here. If you need to go back and you need to change some things and look into your configuration, that's always available to you on your website. So that's basically, I would say, the core of the browser features. I'm kind of just going to go through the header and show you some of the other features so that like we have this universal understanding of kind of the home view of Lens. So I'm going to start with settings. We have the logout button. we have the AI integration. So with the AI integration, essentially, we're working on different functionality in the browser that's going to use AI. And in order for this to happen, you need to provide an Anthropic AI key. In the future, we will be working on ways that you can burn Lens tokens to use Anthropic's API without having to enter your own key. But if you could click get a key here, it's pretty straightforward. I'm not gonna, let's see here what we got here. I don't use this a whole lot. Yeah, so my cost's pretty small, but you have create an Anthropic account, you create an API key. Doesn't look like any of these keys are displayed, so you can't get information from the video. But the point is there's a couple AI features which I will go through that allow AI integration into Lens. And in order for that to happen, you need an API key. You can click the model here. Opus is the best, Sonnet is middle, and Haiku is the cheaper one. So you can also, we also have the most recent versions of all the models. So you check for model updates here, and we will refresh and bring in the most recent API endpoints. So you always have the cutting edge models. Sonnet is very, very good. Opus is in many ways overkill, but it is slightly better than Sonnet when it comes to reasoning. So that's that part in settings. Theme customization, as some of you guys know, you can now completely change the appearance of Lens and make it whatever color you want. And this is like really nice for users who just want some customization. And you basically can go here, you push it to the cloud if you want to save it, and then you pull from the cloud to get your most recent theme that you backed up. And then there's, of course, this reset all to default button. Moving right along here, font size. This is pretty self-explanatory. This is a way for users who might be visually impaired to change their font. And yeah, this can also help you just for the customized lens. UI density is also something we are working on. We have a lot of users who have low screen resolutions, so we're creating various density controls to increase their viewing pleasure. Browser settings, web view delay. This is something that again is backed up to the cloud. And all this does is introduce a little delay to websites of the same domain. So if I go here in Binance, you see we have three Binance. Basically, what's going to happen is if I have 2.1 seconds set, it's going to take basically on average 2.1 seconds to load each instance of that. You can probably see that visually when I pull it in. But what this does is it prevents websites from throttling you. If we load every single Binance instance at the same time, they might or they might be confused, like, hey, why is this server pulling all the data at the same time and pinging us? And sometimes you can get throttled. I've seen Gecko Terminal throttle websites. So this is a way to protect yourself against throttling. And every time you initiate this backup, this is also stored to the cloud. Keyboard shortcuts are wonderful. They're a way to easily kind of navigate Lens. And they're also pretty self-explanatory. I guess I'll go through a couple here, just the left and right arrow keys. When you have lens selected, and you notice it's lightning fast. The reason that is because all these are loaded into memory. So when you start lens, all the websites are loaded as soon as possible. So you have your left and right arrow keys. If you hold shift, you can change floors. And then my favorite ones is lens is so beautiful, especially on high resolution screens. If you press H, you can hide the header. If you press L, you can hide the link section, and now you have this fully immersive, beautiful experience. I'm also going to write some more stuff here, and this is going to be hide a CTP functionality with hotkeys to provide even more immersion. I don't know how you spell that, but anyway, back to Lens. So those are some nice shortcuts. We do have some other ones. Let's see. Let's give you guys these back. And you can also see we have beautiful animations. So when things expand and when they contract, it just looks totally beautiful. What else do we have? Shift L, change floor, 1 through 9. Yeah, you can press the number keys. Shift click is a way if you want to escape Lens and enter your own browser. You can press shift click and it will open whatever you have selected in your own browser. If you want to escape Lens, that is. Okay, so that's that. Application updates. We now have a way inside Lens where you can just check for updates This is going to show the most recent version, but if there is a newer version of Lens, it will allow you to download the update in the app. This isn't perfect in the sense that I know you guys wanted a way for the app to just do it itself. You still have to download something. That uses a somewhat complicated process. It's not super difficult, but we just haven't gotten around to that yet. But yeah, this is a way you can always check and say, hey, is there a new version of Lens? If so, it will let you, update it, download an update, and then reinstall it over here. So this is a way to give us feedback. You can report a bug, you can suggest a feature, you can do general support. Let me just click that. Oh, wow, it opens. Okay, this opened inside of, well, I'm in full screen mode. That's an interesting thing for Apple to do. This opened inside Apple, but you can always email at thenakedlensnow.com if you want. Um, don't save, cancel. What is this? Why did I have so many of these open in my Apple thing? But yeah, so basically, this is actually like kind of hard to get rid of. Let me make it not full screen and try and show what that experience might look like. Okay. Yeah, if you're not full screen, I don't know why this just like forces itself to open full screen. But basically, you can go ahead and you can send us messages, and this is a way to kind of reach out and get support. So I would recommend doing that. Basically, I'm gonna add email direct us. You can email us directly with the support email and support and feedback section. So I will provide, I didn't know the Apple experience was so bad. Uh, it opens up Apple Mail, but basically you can see the mail here, support@getlensnow.com. That's how you can kind of reach out to us. So anyway, that's the settings section. Some other quick ones here. L, if you press this, this is just another way to hide the links. If you don't know the shortcut, you can just press the L key. This is multi-window support. For those, this is heavily asked about. People wanted to be able to look at multiple windows at the same time. So if you have multiple monitors, you can enter this truly cracked out era where you're literally checking so many pieces of data. And again, uh, this beautiful side-by-side view for a web browser. By the way, the Bonk versus Pump fun is pretty fun to watch. These are aggregate data. You can see Pump has somehow fallen off a cliff, even with the new token launch, and Bonk is got a lot of volume. These are Dune reports, and they're great for data analytics, by the way. But that's what this little button is, and you can go crazy. If you have a beastly computer with tons of memory, you can just go and open different windows, excuse me. So that's what that is. Now, Beam is a way to share your current collection or the entire floor. As we said before, this is a collection and this is the floor. So this is a database-driven piece of technology where you can share your current collection, and it will create a URL that's database-driven that users can view, and they can also import it as a lens. So I can now view this, and this is a visual representation of everything you see on the screen, which is these three hyperliquid links. Now, if I wanted to, I can take the URL, which is on my clipboard, and I can view it and import it into a new collection. So let's show you what that looks like. You enter a new collection here, you go to the beam icon, and you import the beam. And now, just like that, you have imported a beam, and it shows all um, the web views that were just currently displayed. So again, we found another mini bug. When you import a beam, it adds collections needlessly. We're going to find a lot because we're going to go over the whole application right now. We've been completely building like feeds. So when you import a beam, other new collections are added. I need to get rid of this. All right, so that was importing that. Now you can do an entire floor as well. So if you go here and you share entire floor, you copy this URL, and then you go back to the browser, you will see an entire floor of what was shared. Now, these are just Google's. So it is also sharing, it is sharing things that don't exist in the UI. So I need to fix that as well. Welcome to programming. Lens is a big application. So floor sharing also shows application state of google.com. Collections not visible on the URL, not visible on the application. So that will need to be fixed. But these beams are pretty nice. We also need a way to show a download button on the beams. So this was an interesting feature. I mean, it did pretty well, but it has been used. People are using it consistently, but I wouldn't say it got like the market saturation that we kind of wanted to. Add download at button on beams. So yeah, these features are working with a small, like a couple minor kinks, but these are nice. Like when you share a beam, you can also make it public and enable comments. So if you make it private, then no one can click it and only it's not viewable on the website. I'll kind of show you what that looks like. I mean, it would just be basic. You're just going to see something that you can only import, but it's not viewable. So Beam's not available there. And then another thing you can see is if you import the Beam, you can always import a Beam that's not public if you want, because it's just a private URL you're sharing with your friends. Now you can also comment on Beams. So let me just share again, and I'll show you this. You can comment. And this is a social feature in Lens. I think it didn't take off as much, but it is still pretty powerful if you want to share a bunch of research with people. You're also allowed to do that. And in addition, if you can see all your beams here, and if you want to, you can delete old beams. And this will delete, you know, older beams that you have, and then they're no longer able to be accessed. So this probably is not available anymore. So there's a beam management system built into Lenses as well on a website. So if you made a beam that, like, for instance, people are spamming, or you just want it to be private and it's kind of annoying you, um, you can delete it. You can also see floor and collection, the two types of beams that you have shared. So that is how you basically share your configuration with others, which can be super helpful. And people do use this feature a lot. I'm going to have to go through it, and as you guys saw, just clean it up ever so slightly. It has not been touched in like 2 months in the code base, so I'll be very careful there. So these are the sync buttons. Again, when you're syncing, all you're doing is you're pulling data of the configuration of the websites, so on the floor. So I'm pulling in, if I sync, I'm pulling in all of floor 7 again, and it will go ahead and it will pull it in. As you see, 5 got removed. 5 was a beam that we imported, and once again, I kind of I didn't sync it, like I didn't push the data. This doesn't happen automatically for good reason, in my opinion. It's a design decision because sometimes people make a bunch of changes and they want to close the browser, and then they come back and they're, basically um they can't see their old state that they wanted. So if you really want to save, the user has to do it themselves. Now, lastly, on the header, before we get to the main feature of the browser, which is the SCTP, which is our wallet, we have chat. So now we integrated this recently. Um, we have real-time chat, and we also have the ability to delete messages. This was just added very recently, but we are using very good technology for this. As you can see, it's snapping fast, and it is a private location that only Lens users can see. So if you have a Lens account, you can enter a chat. There are no rules here, and this is just a way that we can all communicate to each other. There are some additional things going to be built in this domain. You can also mention people, and it kind of gives a highlighted thing, and then the user who was mentioned is going to see a notification. And yeah, it's just a nice thing. You can delete your messages. Like I said before, this is a way where we can all kind of come together. This is a social feature. This is where, if you really want to submit feedback, I would highly recommend using this. Now, let's go to the main feature of the wallet, which is actually, I'm not ready for the SCTP just quite yet. I want to show you the AI features. So, one good feature of Lens, which I really like, is sometimes I'm like reading a long article, and I'm like, what I want AI to read it for me, or I want to ask a question. So you can right click, select a test. You can either summarize it or you can ask a question. I'll show you summarize. So summarize is going to open up this AI view. All the AI view is a way of keeping the past 10 questions you had, and having them cached coming to your device. So this is just a conversation history that you've had with AI. President Trump announced plans, blah, 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 blah. Okay, you can also see the prompt. So this is a system prompt. You can't edit this. And this is the user message. This is what we copied. This is the model we're using, Opus, and that's the maximum amount of tokens. And then you can go ahead and you can see the raw data if you like viewing it better. That's summarize. And then you can ask a question. Does this have anything to do with crypto? Yeah, doesn't have much to do with crypto. That's something about Vietnam. I like those two features. They're AI features built in the browser. We are going to expand on that, and we're going to make it more basically kind of integrated in a way that like makes sense. I think right now it's just a little clunky when you have to select text and then send it to the LLM. But you know, we also have to be careful not to do anything that is disrespectful to websites in general. So this is all the AI section is. You can kind of click in here. You can see the stuff that you were asking recently, and it's cached to your device. That's really all this does. So now on to kind of the flagship feature of what really sets this browser apart, which is the integrated Solana wallet, which we call the SCTP. So on the home screen, you will have a portfolio value. It's just a little summary of all your wallets. You click here again, and this shows your wallets. So let's talk about why you would ever want to use this. Well, this is just so much safer than any browser extension. There's so many news articles about how these browser extensions have been compromised and how users have drained their wallets completely. Now, I could go on a very, very long rant here, but I will say if you go to getlensnow.com and you scroll to the bottom and you click safety, you can read a very long article about why this wallet is safe. But I architecturally, I will just tell you, in some ways, you could argue that this is a hardware wallet, even though it's using software to create the keys. You can turn your Wi-Fi completely off. It doesn't need any connectivity to the internet. You can create a new wallet, demo wallet. You could take this demo wallet after you make it. You could copy the private key to your clipboard, and then you could save it somewhere. Like, let's go ahead and save it. And then you can delete this, and you can delete this demo wallet. And then you can turn your Wi-Fi back on. And you just created a key that's essentially using a protected route on your computer that has not needed the internet access whatsoever. And this is just, if you used it that way, you can create very secure wallets. But let's go on. Let's just talk about what everything does. So you can create a new wallet, as you just saw. You can import wallets. So you can import a bunch of keys. You can import them comma delineated or just single keys. So you guys know this is pretty straightforward. If you have a key, which I just had on my clipboard, I'm going to import this and I'm going to call it demo. So this is straightforward. It's just a way of importing private keys. Like if you have Phantom wallets or MetaMask, you can import them in here. Export keys. This is a way you could export all your keys at once and copy them. And then this is just a simple refresh functionality, which refreshes all the token balances that you have inside of your wallet. So that is essentially the essence of it. I would like to say, I'm not going to go on about security because you can read it, but let me just explain the attack surface of our wallet is so minuscule. It's not connected to any Wi-Fi. Your device is completely isolated from anyone else's, wallet and the internet itself. Our content security policy makes sure that websites run in little sandboxed areas where they're completely unaware and unable to access the wallet. We've defined strict APIs for connectivity to any wallet functions. So I think, and this is going to sound a little crazy to you guys, I think we've actually invented a security model that is going to be adopted by all web browsers soon. I think you're seeing here something that is not only more safe and it's more integrated. So my question to all of you is, why would you not want to use something that is not only safer, but more powerful and more integrated? Why? Like if we're talking desktop, excuse me, desktop apps, there's that value proposition to me is profound. You're getting one of the safest wallets, which is creating encrypted keys in a private operating system keychain that the system's kernel itself, the operating system's kernel itself, doesn't even have access to. I mean, this is an unbelievable amount of security, and the attack surface is tiny. If people start breaking into operating system keychains, then we have a massive problem. Do you trust Apple? I trust Apple to secure my secrets. I trust Apple. They have a T2 chip inside their modern computers designed for security. I trust Apple. Do I trust Google Chrome as much when you talk about storing keys in browser storage? Even if they're encrypted, I'm not saying they're all trash. But the data doesn't speak, the data speaks for itself. Tons of these things have been compromised. You can install a crappy extension and it could get access to the browser storage, or it could get access to your clipboard. It's about attack surface. I am not going to throw MetaMask or Phantom under the bus. They're great products. Okay. I'm not saying they're not safe, but it's simply not able to be disputed that the attack surface for an extension or a cloud-based wallet is enormous. This is not a cloud-based wallet. This is a wallet that's encrypting keys powerfully into your operating system level keychain. So you could actually think of it in some ways as a hardware wallet. It's using your device's hardware to store your keys. Now, with that comes a lot of responsibility. We've had zero incidences since we've launched this. We have tons of users who are using it. And but I have to tell you something. You're responsible for your own keys. This is one of the biggest and most important things. Like when you create a wallet, you're responsible for it, okay? Like if you delete your wallet without backing up your private keys, your funds are gone forever. So the first thing you do when you create a new wallet, blah blah blah, you go here and you copy a private key and then you store it somewhere. And maybe it's on a USB in a text file that you use your own encryption on while the internet's off. Fine. Okay, cool. Uh, just back it up. Have some backup because, like, let's say you lost your computer. All these keys, if you don't back them up, are gone. These are stored to your physical device. These are not stored on the internet. These are stored inside of your operating system itself. An operating system is what runs all the programs on your computer. So just remember that you create it, it's very secure. Copy the private key, back it up, and you're good to go. But if you lose Lens or you lose your computer, the keys are gone, okay? Because they're stored on your device. So in that way, it is a hardware in the sense of like it's physically storing on your application itself. So, or not, excuse me, your device itself. So enough kind of rambling on that. I'm going to show you some of the basic functions of the wallet, and let's go ahead and um, we'll use Pump Fun. Why not? Wait, where is Pump Fun? Okay. I'm gonna buy this because I love this meme. We're gonna click buy something. I'll explain the HUD in a second, but I want to kind of just go back into the wallet function. So what do we buy that on? We bought that on the default wallet. So you have to refresh, and you can see that we bought some blob. Now, this refresh button just refreshes all the tokens. I might optimize it further after you complete a buy. Um, Optimize refresh button. Your buy is completed. But yeah, so look, that was pretty straightforward. Now let's go to some of the cool features. What we have is basically Solana, all your SPL tokens, and then USDC. One of the best features, I think, is drag and drop. You just drag and drop. How much do you want to send? Okay, let's send it over there. And it just transferred blob to this other wallet. You refresh it, and then you see it's been transferred out of here. So let me write that down. I'll refresh for transfers. Yeah, it's not perfect. I mean, we spent most of the time on the UI, excuse me, on the safety. So there's some UI stuff that, we still have to iron out slightly. I would say that, needs to be fixed. But this is a really fast way to send stuff. We're going to send it to test two, and it just works. And this is how This is how wallets should be. They should be very, you know, easy to use like this. So drag and drop is a nice feature. If you want to sell, you can also sell directly like this, and everything natively sells to Sol except for the sell all button, which I'll also introduce. But the model is pretty standard, you know, for anyone who knows crypto, you can enter a custom amount of blob, or you can do a percentage. We select high priority fees by default. The network is very cheap right now, as you can see. So high priority is fine. And you sell blob, and then you sold. You know, this is fast. We're using Helios RPC, which is one of the most, I think it's actually the most reliable node in the entire Solana blockchain. So they're a wonderful service. That's one function of the wallet. Let's see, like when you're inside, I'm going to copy this in my clipboard. I'll go over this in a second. You know, these are some pretty big features here, right? So if you want to buy though, you can click this, and then you can enter CA like this. If you want to just buy directly from a wallet, uh, that's something that you can kind of do. And you know, you must keep at least zero point 0.1 Sol in. So you know, maybe select a little bit less. Let me also optimize that. And the zero point 0.1 Sol rule on buy and CTP is optimized. I'll get to all these, you know, in due time. But yeah, that's another way of buying. So you enter the contract address and you can buy just like that. And this one does refresh the balances correctly. So where do we buy this in? Blob. So I believe, yeah, buy uses default. What about if I select multiple here? Select this, buy here. Oh, this is so beautiful. So this is multi-buy. So let's talk about your default wallet. When you have one default wallet selected, this is going to be the wallet that is used to place transactions. When you have multiple, you can trade through multiple wallets. So what does that look like? Well, first let me sell. Let me sell Blob. I'm giving Blob some free volume right here. But what you just saw kind of what it looked like. I had multiple default wallets selected, and I basically clicked this buy button, and because I have multiple default wallets, um, you're able to buy through wallets at the same time. Now, let's talk about the integration level. I think that's a good way to kind of continue on here with the site. Like, what do you get? What makes Lens special? So like it's more safe. We already kind of went through that, but it's also more integrated. Like we don't have to log in to trade this. We're using a URL parser, which is taking the contract address. It can also work with pools, and we're overlaying a custom HUD, which allows us to buy, quick buy, and analyze. So right now, I can buy this in three wallets at the click of a button using my default amount that I set, and you can see I've quickly bought it. Now, if you notice, it's really cool. You can see that the amount of blob I bought slightly decreased every time. That's how fast Jupiter is at getting quotes. And then you also have sell all, and then you have sell individually. So let's say sell is going to open up a bunch of modals. Let's say in this one, I wanted to sell blob here, 50%. Here, I want to sell all my blob. And then here, I'm going to sell a little bit of blob. Now, that was three modals open up just like that. And the reason that happened is because we have multiple default wallets selected. So that is how the HUD works. That same thing happens for our contract address detector. So this is a known issue, but um, basically if you go here, you can also right click and well, let me explain this first. Like if you go to something new like this and you click a contract address, this will show up. You can add it to the watch list, you can analyze, you can get a chart. And this is really okay. So this is dangerous, interesting. Let's see if SoulSnip, or let's see if Quill thinks it's okay. But this little thing that you just witnessed is something called a contract address detector or a clipboard detector. So every time, let's go to new token, we have a new something new on our clipboard. This copies it, and you can literally trade. And again, because we have three default wallets, you can trade in a bunch of different wallets, and you can buy and sell. And you can do it all three because we have three default wallets selected. I don't know why I bought such a small percentage of that, but this is really nice functionality. So that's what our little detector is down there. You can also add to your watch list, which I'm going to show you guys in a second what that does. But once again, add to watch list, you have this beautiful animation. And yeah, those are some of the integrated features. You also have, since we're talking about this, let's go back up and explain something really cool that you can do in Lens. Um, Once again, because it is tremendously integrated, it is very, you get an experience like this is insanely novel. So we can highlight contract addresses. We also added something in chat where you can now detect contract addresses, you can see, and it's copied to clipboard. So you can go directly into your chat and you can detect them. But on websites, you can also buy in multiple, again, we have multiple default wallets selected. So we can call this anywhere. And this is nice. You guys can see how fast Lens is. You know, it's just executing trades. It's just such an absolutely seamless experience. Um, and we can also analyze, and this is a way you can analyze, tokens on the fly. And this detects contract addresses and anything. So if you have Telegram open and someone posts a CA, if you're going on someone's Twitter and you see someone posted the CA, bro, like it's gonna highlight it for you. You can analyze everything, and you can even pull up a chart. So this again, this doesn't like the clipboard detection only works when there's a new clipboard event. So let's say, you go back over here, if you can pull up a chart. So if we were on Twitter, if we had used the copy to clipboard action, you can pull up a chart and you can just view everything. And this is when I say this is what I believe is going to be the future of web browsers. The wallet is connected to the internet in the most secure way possible. It's just such a superior way. And I think you'll see Lens leading. I think we will continue gaining users as we have been gaining a lot recently, but people will start realizing, hey, if I can get something that's safer, and if I get something that's faster, and if I get something that's more integrated with the web in general, I'm going to pick that wallet over other wallets because I value my safety, I value my speed, and speed is very important as a trader, and I value my integration with the web. So you also have this right click buy token. You can analyze it as well just by selecting a contract address, or you can add it to a watch list. This is already, oops, I selected too much here. Select here. I've already added this to my watch list. But let's go to the next feature. Okay, so you kind of see the integration of this. Oh, let's also do sell all. So sell all is a way. We just had a bunch of tokens. We're going to sell every single one, and this uses USDC because USDC is a little bit more of like, okay, like if you're using sell all, there might be a reason you want to go into Sol's USDC and not Sol itself. There might have been a market event. So just for safety, this sells everything in USDC. So this is literally going wallet by wallet and selling everything we just bought. Now, after this, I usually like to sell my USDC back for Sol. I'm going to also eventually create a method to essentially allow you to sell into Sol if you choose. I'll write that down as well. Bear with me on my notes. Sell to Sol in addition to USDC, SCTP settings. And we're moving right along here, guys. I mean, this is again just kind of moving along in the demo. So that's the wallet really, and that shows how integrated it can be. Now, here's the watch list. This is again, these are free features you guys are getting. So in the watch list is pretty straightforward. You saw how we can add it through the clipboard, but you can also add it through just pasting a contract address right here. I'm gonna sort by import date because I deleted some token or I added some tokens that I really don't want. Patty Ice, no offense. I'm gonna remove this from my watch list. So let's go on and show you every single subheader of watch list. So first, this is our new top 25 list. This shows among all the Lens users what the top 25 tokens are on all Lens users watch list. So no surprise, 59 users of Lens have Lens in their watch list. The next one is PBS. Everyone talks about PBS. I don't know why. I don't understand this thing at all, but it's probably good if so many people are talking about it. And then next up we have Zen. I don't even know how to say that, but the point is this is a shared feature. So basically, if you add tokens to your watch list, this is a centralized list of the top tokens of all Lens users. This was just added as a feature in Lens. This and chat are our first two social features. So we have, a top 25 list, and then we also have chat. Beam, same concept here, man. It's just a way to share your watch list. You can import someone's entire watch list, you can view it, and you can have comments, and it's just, like I said, a wonderful way to share data. You can import someone's entire watch list if you wanted to. So let's keep going. Here are alerts. So you got to deselect top 25. Alerts are nice. Alerts are also free. We're using something called Twilio SendGrid. And basically, if you want to set an alert, so let's say I want to know when the market cap of pump is less than 5 million. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I don't know why I'm literally doing that. Okay, let me just do this like a normal person. I will create my alert. And this is also free. You're going to get an alert. This is every hour. We have a job that will run, and you can see when the price of this one is also for active for Lens. So if we get over 5 million, I get an email. And if the price of pump is less than or equal to 5 million, I'll get an email sent to my device. So this is a wonderful feature. You can actually have push notifications for meme coins literally sent to your Apple Watch, which I think is fantastic. Here you see your backup history. So let's say you've been adding a bunch of stuff to your watch list and you just want to go back in time, you can go and you can restore older versions of your watch list. And this deleted tokens is actually interesting. This shows the 500 most recent deleted tokens you've deleted from your watch list. It keeps a massive record of everything you delete. So if you want to go back in time and you want to, you know, look at some old coins that you just had back in the day before you deleted them. You can also restore them. So I could restore Italian brain rot or whatever, and then it would go back and again it would it would add back to my watch. Let me see actually. Import date, would it show the most recent one? No, because the import date was a while ago. So Italian brain rot has been once again re-imported, but it is the original import date is actually preserved. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. I'm not really interested in that token. Refresh again is just going to refresh all the tokens. This is highly optimized and very fast. So we just refreshed a total of 49 tokens, and you can see you're allowed 100 tokens total. Wallet tracker, pretty standard wallet tracker here. You have your wallet tracker. You can track various people's wallets. You have your refresh button. I think you're allowed a total of 20 wallets if you want to track. And this is going to be connected to various functionality in the future, like for monitoring, for copy trading, and stuff like that. You have your private order book. This is a way, let's go ahead and show this off a little bit. Let me see something right now. Let me go back to my wallet and we're going to select just one default wallet. Just keep it simple and going to make sure this is all refreshed and good to go. And then we're going to head back in here and we're going to buy IQ. Now, there's a lot of stuff happening with people front running trades. And if you want a truly private experience, we're going to allow you to essentially create these stop loss orders on securities running inside Lens. So let's say this is automatically down from 10%, but you can enter any current price and you can create a stop order. Now, every 30 minutes, Lens is going to run as a server, and no one in the blockchain can see this. If the price falls below what I had, then it will trigger the order and it will be executed. And that way, you can run a private order book for stop loss and take profit for 100% of the tokens. Um, on your device. So if you can keep Lens running nonstop 24 hours, you can create a massive sea of private orders that you're basically turning Lens into a server for that. Last is your transaction history. This kind of is self-explanatory in the sense of like all this does is shows you the history of what you've done in terms of your wallets. So any wallet that you have inside Lens, it shows you again the stuff that you've done recently. So you've seen we had some transfers today, and let me load more. Let's see. I can keep probably getting more from the database. Yeah, you can go far really back in time if you want to, and you can see we also created some stuff today. You see the wall was we created over here. And this was, remember, we also turned Wi-Fi off for some of the other events. So that's why those weren't shown. And then I guess the only other feature really in the SCTP is just the settings. And we can talk about this. So set if you want a pin, you can create a pin. So if I create a pin, I enter it again, and I set the pin to, let's say, every session. If I close Lens and then I enter Lens again, and then I go ahead into here, I have to enter my pin. Okay. So I hate pins, but if you want to secure your device even further, maybe you're using a computer that you share with some friends, and you don't want them to just go in and be able to go into your Lens, you can create a pin. Every hour means the pin is cached for an hour. Every 24 hours means it's cached for 24 hours. A week means it's cached for a whole week. All that means is it won't prompt you to enter your pin again until this time interval expires. So it won't prompt you to enter your pin for another whole week. I'm going to remove the pin. Again, I do not like the pin. I have a password on my device. That's enough for me. And I feel like my device is very safe. So I'm not going to do that. HUD display, enabled or disabled, and you can press the H key. All that is to show this. So if I turn this, oops, go back in here, and I disable it, you're not going to see it. Okay? Just that simple. And if I enable it, you should be able to see it again, just like that. Works beautifully. Uh, so I keep hitting the wrong setting. So this is where the HUD is positioned. If I just display the HUD at the top, you can see this is now beautifully displayed at the top. All that does, as I said, is show you where the HUD is displayed. Record keeping, again, this is how you get your P&Ls and how you get all your transactions saved. We're going to be running advanced analytics on those later. And quick trade settings, pretty self-explanatory. I'm using 1% slippage, high for fast confirmation as far as the prio fee goes. And the quick buy amount you can set here and it will save successfully. So now if I go back and I look, let me re-enable my, okay, it is enabled. Sometimes this can get a little bit dicey when we've moved the position. Okay, why did I put it? So it's down at the bottom, but you can see 0.05 is now the quick buy amount. But I'm going to put this in the right side. That's why I like it. Now, authorized providers is just a list of our URL detection. So basically, we provide the HUD showing let me turn yellow mode on. We provide the HUD basically if there's a contract address or a liquidity pool in any of these domains. You can add domains yourself. And all this that is this little part right here, okay? This is the contract address. Sometimes like DexScreener has liquidity pools. So we look them up and we allow this parsing mechanism to display the HUD. And you can add your own providers. Or you could just do YOLO mode on, and that will do every single URL if it has a liquidity pool. If it doesn't, or a contract address. If it doesn't, we can only use our authorized providers. I don't mind YOLO mode being on, but that would mean if we go to like a website that like doesn't really exist. Okay, I've never tried this before. This is kind of risky, but we do google.com/this. You're gonna see that, and you're actually gonna be able to buy. This google.com because you've entered a contract address. Now this obviously doesn't exist, but this just shows you how the technology works, right? So it's based on URLs. So hopefully this gives you an example of like, hey, like maybe I don't want this technology that shows me how to buy coins on every single website on the internet. Maybe I only want it, on a certain amount of providers. So again, this is just a way of you kind of reining that in. It's very secure. Of course, you don't have to go ahead and create any uh, providers you don't want. You can remove these providers. They're all synced to the cloud, and you still it's still so leaps and bounds more safe than logging into a website. Having this little device here is just it's so much safer, because the website doesn't know we're here. The website has no idea that this even exists. It has no idea that a wallet exists. They're two separate complete entities. So that is really it. This I wouldn't pay attention to, but this is basically what the entire next 2 to 4 weeks is going to be. I'll be basically developing cloud wallets, and these exist in our backend database. They are less secure because they're stored inside Google's cloud infrastructure. We use powerful 256-bit encryption, AES encryption, and we use even a layer beyond that in terms of our encryption keys being stored in an even safer place. However, pales in comparison to the safety that you're going to get from the Lens SCTP. This is, for all intents and purposes, a hardware wallet. These are going to unlock some of the most powerful and automated trading features you guys have ever used, but they're not as secure because in order for us to buy and sell tokens automatically or send tokens automatically or at a point in the future when you don't have Lens running and have everything happening in the cloud, um, you have to share your private keys with us. So this will be a whole separate beast, but this is where basically a lot of the new work is going to be on creating agents and creating automated features that you guys have never seen, that are really going to, I think, rock your world because it's going to be some of the most powerful automatic features of any wallet that exists in the world. So I wouldn't pay attention to the cloud. It exists. You can go ahead and you can create a cloud wallet. I think you're allowed to create a total of five, but all they do right now is show the token. So you could send here, but you can't send anything back. So don't use these, but that will be available very soon in the next release where you can kind of send tokens to these and transact inside the cloud wallets. And then again, the huge swath of these automated features. So that concludes the video. Again, if you can get anything from the video, it's that this is incredibly safe, uses what I think is you could essentially define as hardware security. And it provides this beautiful integrated experience where you're literally changing the CSS and JavaScript on a website and basically X doesn't know we're here. The website doesn't know that there's a wallet connected to this. I mean, this, I think 100% unequivocally is going to be the future of wallets. There is also other security, details that I didn't explain that make Chrome extensions extremely insecure. Essentially, if you create these buttons in HTML on the actual website, the website can know when you're clicking them and can front run you and steal your data and mine your data. It's an absolute disaster. So I encourage everyone to go to getlensnow.com/privacy, or what is it, security? Let me see something. Getlensnow.com/safety and read about why this is safe. We haven't had any issues. We're not going to have any issues. The only issue that we're going to have is if you guys create a key and then somehow lose your computer and you don't back up your keys. So make sure, again, safety comes at a price in the sense of like, yes, these are stored safely away in your computer system. Okay, cool. But you need to actually make sure the keys are backed up so that if you lose your computer, your hardware, you can recover them. So that is where we're at in Lens. The next feature, again, is going to be creating some of the most powerful automatic and agentic trading features known to mankind, whatever, inside the cloud wallet. It will have features that you guys have never even seen. Um, and it will be, again, if you're looking for max security, you want to use this SCTP wallet because this is on your device. No one else has access to it. And it's just such a safe experience and it's integrated. So that is a presentation. Please email me if you have any feedback, Anthony at getlensnow.com. I really appreciate your time. And thanks again for supporting the project.